Everything is better when it's bigger. Paddy Power's Same Game Multi allows you to combine a number of selections from a single match into one big bet. Check out the Same Game Multi tab and get building your bet. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Hi there, many thanks for tuning in to the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. I'm Bruce Millington, and joining me this week to hopefully festoon you with loads of winning tips are Mark Langdon and James Milton from the Racing Post, as well as Mal Rooney from Paddy Power. We've got loads of great live Premier League action to get stuck into, and the boys will have all the best bets right down the leagues and across Europe. But first, the 6 questions. No prizes for guessing what the first one's going to be about. What was all that about, Mark, last night? Come on. I mean,
it's one of the most amazing games of football I think I've ever seen. I was trying to, this morning on the train here, I knew we'd be speaking about it, so I was trying to sort of work out sort of the whole game, really. I mean, first of all, it's an amazing achievement from Manchester United to not only to win in Paris, to win by the 2 goals, given all their injuries, but then, like you said, how did they do it? Because they barely had the ball. The goals were just given, the 2 were given to them.
The first one was astonishing,
wasn't it? Yeah, Keira's terrible mistake. The second one, Buffon, again, an incredible mistake. The third one, the handball, I mean, it was a shot that was going nowhere near the goal. I mean, I have looked at sort of what Rossetti, the sort of head of UEFA referee, said before the knockout stages. And according to what he said, that is a penalty now. According to how they want to referee the Champions League, that is a penalty. So I think...
Based on what, Mark?
Based on the fact that he said that if an opponent attempts to gain an advantage, defender gains an advantage by moving their arms away from their body, we will give penalties because it's unfair. Now, I mean, I disagree with that because if it's completely accidental like that one was, then I think it's really harsh. But
the shot's going nowhere. It's accidental. He's not looking at it, and no one appealed.
No, apart from Dallo did, but I think it was more out of desperation. Yeah, but it was. And I agree. I don't think it is a penalty, but I actually think that the referees, under their instructions, have done the right. Have done what they're kind of told to do. I fear that what will happen in the future is that teams will start aiming for defenders' arms.
Kevin Pullein said this. He said a new sport will appear, particularly after Lineker goes, and I like Gary Lineker, but he goes, he came out with the classic stupid comment. For me, for the avoidance of doubt, if it hits their arm, it's a penalty. You can't do it like that. You just can't, because as Pullein said, you'll have a new sport where players just try and sort of scoop the ball up to opponents' arms.
I remember Thierry Henry doing that at Arsenal once. I can't remember who it was against, but he did. He literally just scooped it up to the guy standing in front of him. It hit his hand. And
I'll back Luka Milivojevic for the Golden Boot. Ray Stewart will come out.
It's you'll end up in a situation where it becomes like field hockey, where people are playing for penalty corners, and of course there's a skill in that. It's really interesting though, because on the Sunday supplement they were saying that one of the journalists on there said they were speaking to a coach that one of the new things they're looking to do now is to defenders defend really high up. And what they're doing is they're pushing the forwards offside. And that's big. So coaches are looking every single sort of minute of the day, they're looking for just that little tiny small detail that will improve them and make them better. And you will see teams aiming for defenders' arms for sure.
I thought VAR was hideously intrusive all this week. I thought the delay for the fourth Ajax goal, where
4 minutes.
You're trying to work out whether it had gone out or whether it was handball. It was all absolute bollocks. I hate it with a passion. Talking of Ajax, James, what did you make of them? Wasn't that an amazing game as well?
It was an incredible performance. And I mean, they'd shown signs in the group stage where they had 2 draws with Bayern Munich and, really went toe-to-toe with Bayern. And obviously played very well in the first leg and probably felt a bit hard done by to lose that game. I mean, I think what it comes down to is basically just karma, isn't it, with Sergio Ramos?
Fantastic.
I don't know what the Spanish is for take each game as it comes, but I couldn't have been more delighted by that result just for Ramos's cheek.
Absolutely, it was superb, and big shout out to Jason Murphy, Mal's colleague at Paddy Power, who put Ajax up at 100-1 for the Champions League. That was a great shout. Talking of Mal, his first question is this, when my phone starts working. Now then, Mal, I'm told that last Saturday's football results were an absolute disaster for bookmakers, great for punters. Just how bad was it, and how much of that did you get back with the midweek shocks?
Yeah, so it was pretty bad, yeah. So any instance kind of where all the favs kind of win and we'd have a spots list basically for the most popular selections and stuff. If the top 6-7 of them win, it's generally going to be a bad sign. We would have been looking to try and get it back during the week, but last night's results were absolutely horrendous.
Oh, were they?
Oh yeah, for United to come back and win in that fashion was awful for us actually. Yeah, we lost quite a bit on the United to qualify, United to win the match. Every basic market that United are in, and we also have a huge liability on them for the outright from when Solskjaer took over. So for them to come back and win in that fashion was pretty bad for us.
So it's not good going into Cheltenham. You need the Frank Hickey and the racing boys to have an absolute stormer, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah. For once, get the racing lads to give us a dig out.
Be honest, right, Mal. When it's all going wrong and all the favs are winning, and you get to 10-5, and Jeff Stelling's delivered his final blow. Do the likes of you and Jason, do you sit around with your heads in your hand, or are you like, well, it's not our money?
There is pressure on during the game more so. So, I mean, if you were a United fan, you're sitting in the office. I mean, you're not going to be getting a pat on the back if you're cheering on Rashford scoring the penalty in the 94th minute if we have it for seven figures. But in general, it's kind of grand. I mean, the results are done at the end of the day. We kind of look back and it makes our life more difficult when the results are bad for us. But once you're not actively cheering on a bad book and stuff like that,
that's a golden rule, isn't it? You're not allowed to cheer against the company position. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, if it's a huge position, so it'd be the same during Cheltenham. Like if we have a horse for a significant liability, if you have it and the score tricks you or something like that, you don't go cheering it over the line if it's a photo finish.
We have a similar thing, don't we, Mark? I mean, we're not putting our money where our mouth is when we're putting tips up, albeit obviously our readers are. But I used to get annoyed if I'd tipped something in the office, in the paper, and then someone else had backed the other team, and they were giving it the big one when they went 2-1 up in the last minute. It's not good form, is it?
No, it's definitely not good form. No, that does happen.
Right then, Mark, the Champions League continues next week. Which 4 teams will go through?
Okay, well, Manchester City would definitely go through. I don't think there's any doubt about that one. The interesting one is Juve against Atletico. I'm just wondering if there'll be some kind of inspiration Juve can take from watching what's happened over the last couple of nights. I wouldn't be surprised if that one went to extra time, but then maybe Atletico nicked it then. So, I mean, I think Atletico is probably the sensible one. Barcelona, I don't think will have any problems against Lyon. No, not. I mean, 0-0's not a great result away from home, but it's better if you're Barcelona than we get on to Bayern Munich.
And then Liverpool.
I think Liverpool are the value bet. I watched Bayern's game on Saturday. That was their best performance of the season against Borussia Mönchengladbach. They won 5, could have been even more than that. But I still worry about them defensively. Liverpool's expected goals for that game against Bayern was well over 2. I think they'll create chances. I know they're struggling a little bit away from home at the moment, but I just think if they score 1, it's going to make it very difficult for Bayern. And we've seen with Tottenham's victory over Borussia Dortmund, I think the Premier League does hold the power over the Bundesliga at the moment.
Okay, right then, James. The England qualifying campaign, and indeed every European nation qualifying campaign, starts very soon. Gareth Southgate will be naming his squad. Which breakthrough players, which new faces do you think deserve a chance to get a call up to the senior squad?
Well, I suppose the obvious ones are Declan Rice and Sancho, who's been in there before. I mean, Sancho, what he's done at Dortmund this season has been absolutely fantastic. You slightly worry about burnout in that he's playing probably his first full season, isn't he? Really, so maybe they'll treat him with kid gloves. But yeah, Declan Rice looks a terrific signing for England. If you will.
Would you thrust him straight into the starting?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of the central midfield players, I think he offers something a bit different to what England already had. Yeah.
So just the 2, do you think, or maybe it was sprinkle it with a few others?
Well, he's Southgate's shown his inclined to give young players a chance. So yeah, I think
quite a young squad already, isn't it? Really?
That's right. You know, I mean, you
most
look
of
at
them
players
are
like Dele Alli, who are kind of seasoned veterans at the age of 22 or whatever. But yeah, it'll be interesting.
It will be interesting. I think England's future is quite good. And the Europa League round of 16 begins tonight. So Mal, give us your outright fancy.
I'm on Chelsea actually from earlier in the season, but I've lost faith in that the more the season goes on. I think Salzburg, if they can get over Napoli in what's going to be a tricky tie, I think they can go all the way. If they're good enough to knock out Napoli,
they must be some price, aren't they?
They're about 25 to 1, I think, now to win it. So they were around 40s, they come into 33s, and then they shortened up before the draw. Then they obviously got quite a difficult matchup against Napoli, but I don't think that it's a gimme for Napoli by any stretch of the imagination. I think Salzburg can really put it up to them, and I do think it's open for someone to win. I think the top end of the market is quite weak. Inter are weak, Chelsea are vulnerable, I think Arsenal are vulnerable as well. So I think it does open up for a team like them to go on and win it out. So if I was to have another bet in it now, I would take them at 25s.
Lovely. Mark, which question are you going to answer?
The England one, I think in terms of the goalkeeper situation, that's where I'm still not 100% convinced. I think Pickford did better than expected at the World Cup. I think he's had a pretty average season, and you're just wondering, you know, we had doubts about him going into the World Cup, and I don't think you can allow 3-4 matches at a World Cup to suddenly, you know, change your whole opinion of him. I wonder, but it's finding one to come in. I do like...
What season has Butland had for Stoke? He's obviously, you know, just completely gone.
Yeah, I
into
mean,
the shadows,
not amazing, not amazing enough to suggest that, you know, he's the one I quite like is Gunn at Southampton. He doesn't play all the time. He's had a couple. He played at Old Trafford and he's played at Chelsea as well when they kept the clean sheet. And I definitely think he's a goalkeeper of interest. I mean, he needs to be playing, you know, more regularly for Southampton before he can, you know, start to push Pickford. But I think he could be an interesting one over the next 12 months or so.
Do you think England's lack of support or backup strikers is a problem if Kane gets injured, Mark?
No, because you could just play Rashford up front and then put Sancho in on the wing. Another one that I like is Harvey Barnes. I think
he's good, isn't he?
Definitely got. I mean, maybe it's a little bit too soon, but not by much. I think he again come sort of Euro 2020 is another one that could be sort of, you know, really pushing.
And any sort of right backs maybe?
Alexander-Arnold. No, I mean Alexander-Arnold and Wan-Bissaka are both really good. I mean, it could end up being that situation when, do you remember when England had two really good left backs?
Yeah, Bridge and Cole.
Yeah.
People used to try and get both into the team, didn't they?
It was sort of trying to fit there, and then it was Lampard and Gerrard all over again.
I thought you were getting at Carl Jenkinson, rejuvenated Arsenal person.
No, James, which question are you going to take?
Europa League. I've got to echo Malachi's thoughts. Actually, I have had a bet on Napoli outright. Just, you know, didn't really fancy Arsenal and Chelsea at the start of the knockout stages, but I will definitely have a little saver on Salzburg. Got to the semis last season. I think that could be an absolutely cracking tie.
Mark, you've already answered one question. Mark, I'm going to give you a quick one. Who wins the Europa League?
I gave you two, Bruce, before the knockout stages. One was Napoli, who have got this difficult draw, but I still think they're the best team in the competition.
Valencia, didn't you?
And Valencia, the other ones. They are unexpected goals. They're second in Spain. They've got Krasnodar in the last 16. I mean, I suppose the trip to Russia is not great, but the one thing they couldn't do earlier on this season was score goals. They were drawing loads of games. Now they've started to score goals. You know, they're a very good team. They're like a Champions League team in the Europa League, and Spanish teams.
Very hopeful. I've got the value there.
Yeah, Spanish teams have got a brilliant record in the
club. They love it, don't they? It's important to them.
It is.
Malachi, which question are you going to answer?
The VAR.
Oh, good man. Unless you like it.
No. I've been against it since day one.
Yeah, good man.
The purpose of it to bring it in was allegedly to kind of get these edge cases where there's a wrong decision right, but it doesn't seem to solve that, and it's not worth the disruption to play. But even last night, like, if you're a United fan, there's people say it's a penalty. If you're not, they say it's not a penalty. But whether it was or wasn't, the fact of the VAR is, if it wasn't given in real time, there's no justification to give it on a slow motion replay at the sideline. I can't understand. If he gives that penalty in real time, it's a harsh penalty in my opinion. If he does give it, he's jumping away from the ball. You could argue by the letter of the law that it is technically handball. And same as every other year in the Champions League, you win some of them decisions, you lose some of them. I don't think United would have, went out everyone going ballistic that they didn't get the penalty. But the fact that he didn't give it, I don't think there's any justification. It's not a clear and obvious error to go to the sideline and say that was 100% a penalty. It wasn't like the drag back in the Roma Porto game, or even just instances of offside where they go back and they change the decision because the linesman got it incorrect. I can understand that, but it's just way over the top. Like in the Ajax Madrid game, it was an absolute farce.
That was appalling. It completely broke up what was a compelling, amazing bit of sport, didn't it? For four poxy minutes.
4 minutes. Like, you're sitting there, you're like, what is this? I mean, you don't know if they're going to make a call one way or the other way. You've already celebrated for a goal in some instances. And I mean, if you're going to the matches, and this is the point that people keep bringing up, it's bad enough watching it on television, but if you're actually at the match, you'll have celebrated the goal, sat back down, and then you're still sitting to wait. Do you celebrate again when they scored?
Yeah, you just have to do sort of half-hearted, oh, good, yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a relief now that it's been given. It takes away from it too much for me, and it doesn't improve it, because as you can see from a lot of the high-profile decisions, it doesn't, they're 50-50 decisions, so no matter what happens, it's not 100% sport. It's going to go one way or the other, so it doesn't improve it enough for me.
Exactly. Natalie Sawyer, she ran a Twitter poll. Was it a penalty? Wasn't it a penalty? 8,000 people voted, and it's exactly 50-50. So
Yeah.
I'll tell you what, someone on Twitter responded to one of my rants last night, and he came up with the best thing ever. He said, if we're debating VAR decisions, it's not working. Yeah. That is absolutely brilliant. Completely sums it up in a sentence. Get rid. Thank you, chaps. Right then, let's look at the first of the live games, and it's the big one of the weekend, 12:30 at Selhurst Park. Palace versus Brighton, the M23 derby. Can't wait for this one. How do Paddy Power bet, Mel?
So Crystal Palace are odds-on favourites at 4-5. The draw is 12-5, and Brighton are underdogs at 7-2.
James, away you go.
I think it's a great chance for Palace to win. I'm actually looking at splitting stakes between 1-0 and 2-0, just based on Brighton's lack of goal threat away from home. They've lost 10 out of 14. Their only wins came at Newcastle and 10-man Huddersfield, and then they beat Huddersfield at home 1-0 to ease the pressure. But I mean, it's not a result you're going to be dining out on for long. I mean, I think Brighton will stay up, but they've not really progressed this season, and Palace in the last few weeks have been very impressive. I think it could be a tight contest, but I think Palace have the extra quality. They've kept clean sheets in 5 of their 6 home games against teams in the bottom half. So Palace 1-0 or 2-0.
Good man, James. Mal?
Yeah, I'd echo that, yeah. I mean, Palace's 14 home games have been quite low scoring, with the 25 goals. And Brighton have conceded a lot in their away matches, but I just think recent Palace displays have been promising, and, including the trashing of Leicester, which I know for their own reasons had problems. But I'm a big Zaha fan. I think on his day he's unplayable in this sort of match. So I think Palace will just edge it in a close game, and I'd also be happy to have a small bet on Zaha, first goal scorer at 11-2.
Love you.
Yeah, I think Palace win as well, and I think that I was looking maybe Palace and under 3.5 goals, just because I am expecting it to be relatively tight. I think Zaha's form has improved. Now Palace have got a striker that can take some of the pressure off him having to create everything, gives them a sort of platform to build on. I think there are reasons behind it. It doesn't really matter whether it's Batshuayi or Benteke. For me,
just a proper striker,
it's just to have somebody up there. I mean, Brighton, if you're already looking at sort of teams that you fancy to go down next season, Brighton are very much on that list, aren't they? I mean, it looks like they're going to stay up, but probably down to the ineptitude of Cardiff rather than their own sort of good work. They've been struggling for quite some time now, and you mentioned the M23 derby. I mean, given the roadworks on there, it's going to take the Brighton fans a long time to get there.
Yeah, I think it's a replacement bus journey. I think they might have to use the Bluebell Railway, which is a steam railway that covers
it could feel even longer on the way back.
Good, excellent. Well done, lads. Love that. Let's do the Saturday 3 p.m. games next.
It's Paddy's big Cheltenham offer. We're giving money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second, third or fourth on every single race on day one of Cheltenham. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Welcome back. Let's look at the 5 non-televised 3 p.m. Premier League games. Mal, give us the prices for Cardiff versus West Ham, if you would.
So Cardiff are underdogs at 23-10 at home. The draw is also 23-10, and then West Ham are 11-10 Fabs away.
Mark, before the break, you referred to Cardiff's ineptitude. That's slightly harsh, isn't it? They've been as plucky as anything, haven't they?
Well, they've been plucky, but I mean, they're not very good, are they? I mean, that's I think they've done really well to get the amount of points they have, and
now a crippling injury blow for them at the back, isn't it?
Well, I mean, they've conceded 10 goals in the last 3 matches, which I mean, I'm not that bothered really about who does and doesn't play for a team like Cardiff. I don't think they've got a huge amount of influential players.
I think Bamba's.
Well, I mean, I feel like Warnock can probably cope with that, because in a championship season, you go 46 matches, you normally pick up a fair amount of injuries. I mean, Camarasa in midfield has been quite important for them when he'd been out. But I mean, they've conceded 10 goals in their last 3 matches anyway. I'm not mad on West Ham, but I think I'd probably just go towards them. I mean, they did lose at Brighton and Burnley and drew at Huddersfield, so
the flip-flop accusations are going to be coming out now, aren't they, with West Ham?
Well, are they? Do they want the Europa League? I mean, I tend to think that maybe Pellegrini would. I mean, I think it's a big enough lure for a club like West Ham. Yeah, I'll go for West Ham, but not with much confidence.
You got confidence, James?
I like the 11-10 about West Ham to score 2 or more. Actually, Cardiff, competed really well at home.
I'm just looking at notes again.
Nicest handwriting.
Mark's basically scribbled on a betting
I got the
slip,
quill out again.
3-inch long pens. That looks like a sort of draft for Othello or something.
There's a bit of calligraphy in there.
I don't know which one of us went to private school.
Sorry,
anyway, West Ham to score 2 or more, 11-10. Cardiff been competitive at home, but lost their last 2 at home. 5-1 to Watford, 3-0 to Everton, which does not bode well.
Okay, what do you think, Mal?
I just have such little faith in West Ham personally, from a consistency point of view, that I've settled on Cardiff double chance of 4-6. I think Warnock's able to cope with the loss better than probably most managers or most teams in his situation could, and I think he'll just try and set them up quite well organised and hold it out tight the same way they kind of always play. I just think it could be a difficult game for West Ham to break them down, so I've just gone for Cardiff 4-6 +1.
No one seems ultra confident on that one. Let's see what they make of Huddersfield versus Bournemouth. Mal, what are the prices?
So Huddersfield are underdogs here 12-5. The draw is 21-10, and Bournemouth are Favs at 6-5.
What do you make of this one, James?
Yeah, I probably would be backing Bournemouth actually. Obviously had a tough run of games, 1 point from their last 5. But David Brooks returned last weekend against Man City, and he's obviously a key player. And, it's mainly just anti-Huddersfield. Lost 14 of their last 16. I think Bournemouth are a cut above. So with a few caveats, small bet on Bournemouth.
You'd want to be buying pretty triangles here, wouldn't you, Mal? It should be quite a pleasant game to watch, but how will it finish?
Well, I thought Huddersfield would have that old, pressure off win at some point, and I backed them against Newcastle, which they lost 2-0, and then they went and bet Wolves. So I've kind of just put a black line through them now, and I've no interest in them at all. I've gone for under 2.5 goals at 4-6. I think it could just be a shocking match, poor enough quality. I think Bournemouth will probably stumble over the line, but I don't think there'll be many goals in this one.
What do you think, Mark?
I'm going to go for a bit more juice in the unders and go for under 1.5. 6 of Huddersfield's 10 games at home to the non-Big Six have been no more than 1 goal. And I looked at Bournemouth, 4 goals in their last 9 away matches. Obviously, barely had a pass, let alone a shot against Man City last week. I mean, they did their work early on, didn't they, Bournemouth, and got nice and safe, but I've been a bit disappointed with them in recent months. That 4-0 victory against Chelsea apart.
Claudio Ranieri was looking forward to an emotional return to Leicester and then got sacked. So, Leicester-Fulham, how do Paddy Power bet?
Leicester are the 8-15 Favs at home. The draw is 16-5, and Fulham are 4-1.
Mark, did you see signs of life in the Fulham performance against Chelsea? Enough to potentially see a shock here?
I'm not sure about shock win. I was going to go for Leicester to win and both teams to score. I thought they showed more spirit, definitely. Parker, I think he played to the galleries a little bit, brought back Sessegnon. Kearney was in his correct position. But I mean, but it was pretty sensible stuff, really. Starter McDonald came back in, relied on the sort of players that had got Fulham as high up as they did. So I think they'll show a bit of spirit. Leicester are the both teams to score kings outside of Arsenal and Manchester United this season, and I think they'll win the game. Fulham only got 2 clean sheets, but yeah, Leicester and both teams to score.
James?
Yeah, I think Leicester games seem to have been underrated in the goals markets all season long under Puel, and I expect them to be even more expansive under B-Rod. 3-4 for over 2.5 goals, so it looks a great bet. Leicester score goals, Fulham score goals, Fulham can't defend. It all adds up.
It certainly does. Mal, do you agree with the boys?
Yeah, no disagreement there. Yeah, I was looking to back Leicester just to win, and I was curious to see if Vardy was going to be back fit. The fact that they're shortening up on the exchanges would probably indicate that he will start the game, unless I've missed team news or whatever. But I'm happy enough to back Leicester, and Leicester on both teams to score would be a fine bet as well for a bit more of a price.
Okay, let's sound they played for both clubs klaxon. It's Newcastle versus Everton. Give us the show of betting, and we'll sweep up the ones that we think of straight away, and then we'll get the verdicts, and then we'll go for, him. So how do Paddy Power bet on this one?
Newcastle are 7-4 at home. The draw is 2-1, and Everton are 13-8.
What we got?
Big dunk.
Steve
Watson.
Oh. Distin.
Yeah, Distin. Yeah, he played for both.
Spen played for both, didn't he? I always say Paul Kitson for everything. I don't think he played for Everton.
No, I don't think he did.
You got any, Mel?
No. Before my time.
What, football? Team transfers? All right.
Between either team.
Right, anyway, it's Mark. You'll go first.
I'm going to go for the draw, half-time draw. If you have a look at the stats, Everton, 62% of their games half-time draw. Newcastle, 55%. It's odds against in places. A tricky game. Wouldn't be surprised if it finished 0-0. Everton defending slightly better, but they still haven't got anything up front. And, Newcastle, I think, are just going to try and grind their way to safety.
Did Ginola play for Everton briefly?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, good shout. Very good Ginola, yeah.
Okay, James?
I'm going for the draw in this one. I think both teams should be in pretty good heart, actually. Everton, good win at Cardiff, and then I was pretty impressed by them against Liverpool. Certainly finished the game strongly. And Newcastle bidding for a 5th straight home win, I think. So, honours even.
Did you notice me and Mark have got they played for both teams? I
know. I could be talking for the next 20 minutes.
The door hinge. Mal, what's going to happen here?
Actually, I thought they were very, very impressive against
Beardo.
Liverpool.
Oh, Beardo.
That wasn't before your time, was it, Mel? What have you gone for? Everton win.
Everton win, yeah. My reason here is people say that form goes out the window for the derby, for the Merseyside derby, and that can be true going into the game. But the fact that they played so well during it, and I thought they created a lot of chances from a lot of different positions, and showed a bit of spark that they had sometimes been missing. I think if they can carry that into this game, even play anywhere near as well as they played against Liverpool.
Gaza.
Oh yeah, there's one that I should have got.
Yes.
I think if they can carry any of that spark into this game, that I know Newcastle have had some good results, but I would actually fancy Everton in this game, and I don't normally fancy them in any match. So I've gone for Everton win here.
Okay, and there's a big injury blow for Newcastle, isn't there? Longstaff's out for the season, I think, isn't he? He's been quite good, Mark.
He has been. Yeah, he's been very good. I mean, he's still somebody that one of the Premier League players that I could walk past and not recognise. Yeah, he hasn't sort of made that much of an impact on me, but he certainly has made an impact on the Newcastle team, definitely.
Okay, and a final one is Southampton versus Tottenham. What's the latest betting, Mel?
Southampton are underdogs at 3-1. The draw is 13-5, and Tottenham are 5-6.
And James, what will happen?
I think Tottenham will win, actually. Obviously, had setbacks at Burnley and Chelsea before that win in Dortmund. I think this is a softer test for them. Southampton, 2 clean sheets in 18 games, and I think Spurs will have enough. That 5-6 looks an okay price.
What about you, Mal?
Yeah, I'm the same. All I've written down is Spurs win 5-6, so I think they'll be too strong for Southampton. I do be a little bit wary sometimes about backing teams away from home when they've played away from home midweek in Europe as well. But yeah, I'm happy enough to take them at the price.
Are you, Mark?
Slightly. I just wondered the impact of no Pochettino on the sideline. I mean, most people have got him down as one of the best managers in the league, and it's a bit of an unknown.
Tony Parks,
it's not Tony Parks. It's
bloke on the sidelines.
Jesus Perez is his number 2, and they've got a goalkeeping coach called Jimenez, who bit of a character as well. But it's just a bit of an unknown, isn't it? But I just thought Harry Kane is 3-1 each way. He's got 3 and 4 since he returned from his injury. I mean, he just scores so many goals. I mean, if this was a Lewandowski or whatever, I mean, the sort of prices he goes off away from home, even for Bayern Munich, I mean, Kane is about as elite a centre forward as you can possibly get. I mean, there was never a moment's doubt that he looked like he was going to miss against Dortmund when he went through 1-on-1. He's just phenomenal, and he's on the pens as well.
So 3-1 with the terms is basically score no bet, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah, your money back if he scores. Yeah.
Okay, and there is a live game at 5:30 on BT Sport. It's Man City versus Watford. Mal, how short are Man City?
They are very short. Man City are 1-8 at home. The draw is 15-2, and Watford are 18-1.
Blimey, that seems almost prohibitively short, doesn't it, Mal? Could you give Watford a chance?
We actually were discussing this earlier on before we went on air, and I think Watford have played quite well lately, and City did labour to a couple of close enough 1-0 wins, but I think they're ready to kick it up a gear here, to be honest, and I actually fancy them to put Watford to the sword. I just think Watford have played some nice football, but they're in no man's land in 8th place. I think they're 13 or 14 points, I think, off 6th, and they're well clear of relegation as well, so I can just see motivation being a bit of an issue for them, and if City get an early goal in the first 20-25 minutes, I don't think Watford will be interested at all. I think City have so much more to play for and have as well so much more quality. I think they could open them up here. I've actually gone for City -2 at 11-10. I think it could be a little bit of a rout.
Okay. Watford could be saving themselves their cup quarter final against us the following week. Mark,
They could. I mean, Watford were 2-0 down after 20 minutes against Liverpool the other midweek. However, I'm going to go for the first goal after 20 minutes in the hope that they don't want that to happen again, and it'll be kind of blanket defence. Javi Gracia got a reputation for being a slayer of giants when he was in Spain. And I'm just having a look at the first goal time in some recent Man City games. 51 minutes against Newport, 120, didn't score against Chelsea, of course, 59 against West Ham, 55 against Bournemouth. Those last couple of matches have had 82 and 76% possession, shots on target 7-0 and 7-1. I think teams are just paying them so much respect now that they are just looking to keep the score down, and I think that's probably what Watford will try to do, and hopefully bit of time wasting as well. They can hold out for 20 minutes.
First goal after 20 minutes.
Ben Foster is the best time waster probably in world football.
Is he?
So, yeah. He learnt from the best under Pulis. He takes as long as he wants over his goal kicks, so don't expect him to sort of be rushing for the short ones.
Wow. Excellent. I didn't realise that you had ratings.
Yeah, well, he's number one. And he never seems to get picked up for it. He's fantastic at it.
Oh, cool. James, what do you think?
Yeah, I mean the goals have kind of dried up for City, but as Mark was saying, their possession stats, I don't think that's a sign that they're in crisis at all. I'd actually quite like the look of the City to win and both teams to score at 7-5. It's copped in 8 of their 14 home wins, and Watford. I'm not sure about their motivation issues. I think there's a great deal of
place up for grabs.
Well, there's a lot of pride in the way that they've been playing this season, and they did get that drubbing at Liverpool. That might be an extra little factor in it. They don't want another hiding like that, and then their season might peter out. They have lost 7 of 8 against the Big Six, but they scored in 5 of those games. So yeah, could land a blow.
I like that. Okay, let's do the Sunday games next.
Friends, or maybe more. Earn a 20 quid free bet for every friend you refer to Paddy Power, thanks to our Friends with Benefits programme. Log in to your Paddy Power account and share your referral link to get started. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.
Welcome back to the Racing Post Weekend Football Postcast. It's Bruce Millington, Mark Langdon, James Milton and Paddy Power's Mal Rooney looking ahead to 3 live games on Sunday. What a treat, starting at 12, Liverpool versus Burnley. Mal, how do Paddy Power bet on this one?
Liverpool are heavy favourites here at 1-7 at home. The draw is 13-2 and Burnley are 14-1.
James, what do you think the score will be?
I think it will be 3-0 to Liverpool.
Okay.
I feel like I've been banging on about how good Burnley's goal scoring record is in recent weeks, but this one I like the 10-11. Liverpool win to 0. The last 2 home games beat Bournemouth 3-0, Watford 5-0, and obviously goalless draws at United and Everton. There's not much wrong with their defence at all. And I just think in this instance, Burnley are going to struggle to make an impact.
Liverpool on both his odds against, Mel. That sounds appealing. What appeals to you in this fixture?
Yeah, I think Liverpool, when I looked at it, I thought they'll try and kill the game off early, so just attack as much as possible from the off, and they'll have one eye on Munich on Wednesday night. But at the same time, I just think they've struggled to find that killer pass to break down locked defences, and that's probably been the difference in a lot of games that Liverpool have dropped points in recently, that you just think City would edge them with David Silva or someone who's just able to break open that defence, something that Coutinho would have done when he was with Poole. And I think Sean Dyche is probably too cute to come out attacking from the off, and he's probably just going to look to frustrate them. So Liverpool are quite short for the half-time lead. They're around 1-2, but I've gone with the first goal to be after the 22nd minute. It's around the even money mark. I just think if they're able to pick that lock, it's going to take them a little while, and then eventually when they do, they can get 2 or 3 after that. I think they could beat them 3-4-0 once they get ahead, but it's just a matter of when they actually get the goal, and I think it could take them a little bit longer than expected.
You boys are making so many convincing cases. I'm going to break my record for betting. We've got Cheltenham next week. I'm supposed to be keeping my powder dry. Mark, how do you see this one going?
I like the Liverpool to win to 0. I mean, I say I like it. I mean, win to 0 bets are always one of the worst ones, because it's the only market really, I think, where it can lose in the first second and cannot possibly win until the last second either. So
I did PSG to win to 0 last night.
At least you knew your fate early, I suppose.
I did Arsenal at Huddersfield when they were 2-0 up in injury time, and Kolasinac decided to just kick the ball into his own net.
Oh, that wasn't given as an own goal, was it? Eventually,
Was it?
the one from Charlton was given the
really?
was given the goal. But yet Liverpool 5 straight clean sheets in 11 home games against non-big 6. 8 have been 1-0. Van Dijk is leading the defence very well. They haven't actually in recent weeks missed Joe Gomez or even Lovren, because I think Matip's doing okay. And then it's just a case of whether they can get one. And if you have a look at Burnley's sort of shot stats, averaged the fewest away shots and the fewest away shots on target. I think they're a handful at home. Less convinced about them on the road.
At 2:05, it's Chelsea versus Wolverhampton Wanderers. And what's the latest from Paddy Power, Mel?
Chelsea are 1-2 at home. The draw is 11-4, and Wolves are 11-2.
And we'll stick with you for the first tip on the game.
I think Chelsea are short. I think Wolves have a good record against the top sides. I mean, the bet Spurs, the bet Pool in the Cup, the bet Chelsea in the reverse fixture.
I like bet, by the way, don't you, as the past tense of beat. You and Jason both use it. I like that.
So I just think that Chelsea are a little bit short. I just couldn't have them at the price. Their form is so inconsistent. Yes, they played very well in the cup final against City, and they lost on penalties. That was fair enough. I thought it was a good display. I didn't see them against Spurs. Mark might have more insight into that one. They did win 2-0, so they couldn't have been that bad. And then the Fulham game as well, they stumbled over the line. But I just think their inconsistency, I don't think there's enough justification for them to be 1-2 at home against a Wolves team who is quite competent, who is quite capable of playing away against the big sides. So I've gone for Wolves double chance here at 13-8.
Mark?
Yeah, I mean, Wolves double chance, or maybe +1 on the Asian handicap, where you get your money back if Chelsea win by a goal. Chelsea are playing on Thursday as well in the Europa League, which is obviously not an advantage.
On their own midding or away?
Yeah, they are. Yeah, they've got Dynamo Kiev at home. So I mean, that's better. That's obviously better than if they had to travel away. But it's still an inconvenience. I think against a team that's had the free week, and Wolves just relish these journeys. They've won at Tottenham, drawn at United and Arsenal. The City game that they had a man sent off early, so that was a bit of a dead one. This is the type of game where they like, and although Chelsea weren't great against Fulham in that 2-1, and against Tottenham the second goal obviously is that crazy own goal. The first, until they scored, it didn't massively look like they were going to sort of open Tottenham up, and I think Wolves will sit deep and frustrate, and if Chelsea win, I expect it will be a grind.
Are you with the old gold as well, James?
Yeah, it's one of those fixtures. I think I'd hate myself if I didn't have some pro Wolves bets, and then they caused a shock. I mean, Mark mentioned they won at Tottenham, draws at United and Arsenal. They won the reverse fixture. And I like the look of Wolves draw no bet at kind of a bit bigger than 4-1. And the other one I like is draw at half-time, Wolves full-time double result. That's 12-1. 70% of their league goals have come in the second half. They've scored, I think, 3 times in the last 20 minutes at Wembley to beat Tottenham. And Chelsea do need to push on and win these games because the race for the top 4 is so tight. So yeah, they could be exposed late on. But yeah, Wolves, great chance.
Okay. Talking of the race for the top 4, a crucial fixture in terms of how that ends up takes place at 4:30 at the Emirates. It's Arsenal versus Man United, game of the weekend, and Paddy Power bet as follows.
Arsenal are 13-10 at home. The draw is 12-5, and Man United are 21-10.
This is a head scratcher, Mark. Or are you seeing it nice and clear?
No, I'm not seeing it clearly at all. I think you could make a case for Arsenal given United's injuries and the fact that it must have left its mark playing the way they did in Paris. I mean, they were without the ball for nearly an entire match. But then you look at the fact that they've won in Paris, they've won at Tottenham, they've won at Arsenal already, they've beaten Chelsea in the FA Cup, Pogba's back. So I was over 2.5 goals on both teams to score. It's a 10-11 shot. It's copped in both games this season between them. I see no reason really why it won't do again. Obviously, if Aubameyang scores the penalty last week, it would have copped in the North London derby. Arsenal's matches are averaging the most in the Premier League this season in terms of goals. United have scored in every away game they've played this season, even in those dark times under Jose Mourinho when they were winning away at Juventus. So I think that this is going to be a high-scoring game, and I think that probably both teams will feel like they need to win given that pressure on the top 4. Maybe not so much if Tottenham fail against Southampton, but certainly for Arsenal, this is probably a game they'll feel like they need to win.
James, do you see this as the sort of fixture where you'd rather work out how many goals there's going to be as opposed to how they're going to be distributed?
Yeah, definitely, because Arsenal are still the kind of team who, as they showed last week, they get awarded a penalty at 1-1 in injury time and are still clinging on for a point. I'm sounding like a long-suffering Arsenal fan, but
where were you? Were you sat in your smoking jacket listening to the wireless?
I did listen to it on the radio actually,
did you?
And I'm not sure who was on 5 Live comms, but he went Aubameyang bottom left. And I did a little fist pump, and then there was an agonising delay before I found out that he'd actually saved it. It was a horrible moment.
They're normally good, the 5 Live commentators.
Yeah,
That's very negligent.
yeah.
Lacazette passed up a couple of big opportunities.
Yeah, he was tipped up on the Postcast last week to score first. I was on, and there was that one where he had sort of twist and shoot early on, and then the one where he blazed it wide. That was very poor, wasn't it? So what are you going for?
So yeah, I don't really trust Arsenal at the prices. United, all these injuries stack up. They still keep winning. They won 6 out of 6 under Solskjaer away from home. I was looking at Mkhitaryan, actually, first goal scorer each way, 7-1 against his old club, and he scored 4 in his last 4 league games. So finally starting to make a bit of an impact for Arsenal.
What would you give him out of 10 for his season, Mkhitaryan, this year? 3. Really?
I was going to go about 6. So.
I think he's always. You always have to place him in the context of what Sanchez is doing at United.
Yeah.
So that reflects a bit better on him. But no, he's been good in the last few weeks actually.
Okay, Mal, round us off with a winner.
Yeah, it is a head scratcher. I'm actually heading to the match as well.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I'm
Why?
heading over. Just
something
because.
To do.
Yeah, something to do. The 2 brothers are big Arsenal fans, so we'll be over in the home section. So I'll probably not back United for my own sake. But I don't know. You could make a case. Or I thought you made a good point there about goals, but what way do you distribute them? Even. It could be 3-1 to either team. And it's very rare to have a game at this stage of the season with 2 teams going for top 4 that it's so difficult to kind of make a strong case for either side. I personally would rather be on Arsenal, but I just don't think at the price. I think the game last night had to take a lot out of United. I haven't seen what they clocked up in terms of mileage and stuff, but they must have been ran off their feet. They had such little possession. They worked so hard for the whole game, and I know there is the elation and the buzz of winning and getting through, but sometimes there can be a little bit of a drop off after that, and I feel like a lot of my bets are psychological more so than actual based on stats. But I think Arsenal have been strong at home. Yes, it's been a lot of it's been against weaker sides, but they'll be up for this game. I just think if they drifted a small bit, I'd be happy enough to back them. But the only thing I've written down is the over 2.5 goals, the same as the lad. So I wouldn't have much confidence in this, but hopefully there's a few goals in it anyway.
Is it a day trip on Sunday?
It's leave at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then no, actually we're coming back on Monday.
Oh yeah, what are you going to do Sunday night?
I'll probably be panned in bed at 10, 11 o'clock. If I've had a good day, I'll be in bed at 10.
In this fine city.
I'll be out since 6 in the morning. So.
That's true, I suppose. Will you buy a half and half scarf?
No, Jesus, no. I'm not trying to get stabbed, so no, I wouldn't be doing that.
Surely good. Right then, let's get the naps.
This will not be beaten.
And as is the recent trend, we're going to say our naps, and then Mal's going to give us an enhanced price on them. So, how did we get on last week, Mark?
I let the team down.
Oh, did you? 3 out of 4.
Bruce knew that.
Yeah.
I just wanted to make you confess.
Yeah, no, it was first losing that for a while actually, but there you go.
Right, let's get 4 out of 4. I'll start the ball rolling. Tottenham will win at Southampton, Mark.
Hopefully Monaco will win at home to Bordeaux. Bordeaux really struggling at the moment. Failed to score in their last 4 league away games. I mentioned it a few weeks ago about Monaco, just how much they've improved under Jardim. Unbeaten in 6. They've scored 2 goals in 5 of those 6 matches. I thought they were really good the other week against Lyon when they won 2-0, and it's a Lyon team, that's still in the Champions League. So Monaco seem to have sort of found their level again. Level of performance has really improved.
Okay, Milts.
Preston to win at Blackburn in the Championship.
It's become law now that one of us has to nap Preston.
Yeah, I mean, they're unbeaten in 9, making a late push towards the playoffs, and their away form has been key to it. Won their last 4 away, and Rovers have lost 5 of their last 6. So, North End.
Preston Blackburn. Is that a beef?
Yeah. It's not as beef. It's not as beefy as Blackburn Burnley, but there's still beef.
Yeah. It's sort of darkest Lancashire, I think, as people call it, isn't it? Or deepest.
Milltown.
Yeah. Okay, and no doubt you, Mal the hipster, will be going to some place I've never heard of for your nap. Away you go.
I'm heading over to Genoa for the Sampdoria versus Atalanta game. I'm going to go for Atalanta 11-10 away to Samp. They've been great this season, and I just think the pace and guile they have in the counter should prove too much for Sampdoria, who actually have been in good form themselves and would jump above Atalanta with a win. And Quagliarella is rolling back the years in outrageous form, but I just think Atalanta are too good and they're too well set up for this game, so I'm happy enough to take the 11-10 on them.
Is he still going, Quagliarella?
He's almost top scorer in the league.
Yeah, he's about 11 or 12 games in a row he scored earlier on. Yeah,
I just don't watch Italian football. Something has to give in my life. If you try and keep tabs on all of it, you've got no chance. An Italian has to go by the wayside, unfortunately. Who have your beloved AC got?
Milan are away to Chievo, so hopefully that's a lock. Keep the sunshine coming.
Okay, right. Are you going to enhance that?
Yeah, it's...
So it's 12. Tottenham, hang on, what was it? Tottenham, Preston, Monaco, Atalanta.
Yeah, so it's about 12 to 1 shot for the 4. So we'll push that out to 18-1, and we'll throw a banner up for the Racing Post Snap special.
Brilliant. Okay, go on to paddypower.com if you want to take advantage of that enhanced nap special. Right, Mark, weekend plans. You taking in a game?
Yes, Stevenage versus Bury on Saturday.
We discussed this, didn't we? We're both on Lincoln, and Bury went to Cheltenham and drew, having led. And I said this could be the best result I have at Cheltenham in the next 10 days or so.
Yeah, I think the game was, I'm assuming the game was brought forward because of the festival, because everybody else is playing next week in
I'd love to have gone.
Yeah, I mean, that it
would, Cheltenham and then steam down to Wadden Road.
Yeah, and I'm told that Bury absolutely battered them, and the manager said afterwards they're the best team in the division by a way. So
Cheltenham manager said that.
Yeah.
Oh, God. So we're still not out of the woods there.
No, I expect them to beat Stevenage.
You in the press box?
I'm in. I think I'm above that. I think I'm in sort of directors. I think. Although there isn't a great deal of director box at Stevenage.
I remember doing a Chester versus someone or other for Match in Focus, and I walked into what I thought was the press box and picked up a sandwich, and I found out I was in the sponsors' lounge.
Yeah, I'm
shepherded out of there.
I've just spoken to them. Yeah, they're going to look after me, put me in the sponsors' lounge before the game. Actually.
Lovely.
Yeah, so
can you cheer the hosts on?
I don't think they're going to have the ball for long enough to cheer them on. I will cheer them on, but I think Bury will beat them.
James, are you going to be actually watching the Arsenal game or listening to it on a wireless set again? With the grandfather clock in the background.
I'm going on a family trip to Kent actually this week.
Whereabouts?
was staying just outside Canterbury and going to a safari park, I think, on the Saturday, and then lunch in Whitstable on the Sunday.
Beautiful. That would be nice.
Yeah, it should be good. Yeah.
So how are you going to take the game in? SMSs from Henry Hardwick.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh, blimey.
He's sober enough.
Mel, we know what you're doing. You're coming over and going to the Arsenal game, aren't you? You could have had James's season ticket.
Well, absolutely, yeah. Enough for the next time. Yeah, no, quiet day out in London, and try and keep myself to myself, not get in too much trouble. Win a few pound. That'd be a good weekend for me.
Okay, lovely stuff. Well, I've got it's 12:30 Palace, isn't it? So no pre-match drinks, but very much looking forward to that. Hoping that we can get the job done. Okay, chaps, thank you very much indeed. Thanks for joining us. Don't forget, if you enjoy these shows, please do make sure you rate, review and subscribe wherever you are listening. We are back next Thursday with a Racing Post football postcast. But in the meantime, of course, it's Cheltenham next week. I'm down there presenting daily postcasts every single day. Paul Keeley's going to be with me, DJ. It's going to be absolutely fantastic. Before then, we've got the weekend Racing Postcast tomorrow. And the intention will be to try and win you a few quid for the great meeting. So plenty of great stuff coming up on the postcast. Do please join us.
It's Paddy's big Cheltenham offer. We're giving money back as a free bet if your horse finishes second, third or fourth on every single race on day one of Cheltenham. Terms and conditions apply. 18+, begambleaware.org.